I was typing a comment.
Uh-huh.
What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing tonight? It is Sunday night, and it's a good Sunday night too because tomorrow's a holiday for most of us. So I don't have to go to work. So win in my book. I think Steve got an extra bonus day this week, so I think he's gotten extra day
Well,
off. So.
yeah, so we get a floating holiday every year, and I generally don't take it right away, and then they get to like our calendar year ends in June 30th, so they get antsy like you need to use this, you need to use this. So I was like, all right. We also switched to summer hours, so we have 4-hour Fridays and then 9-hour Monday through Thursday. So I took Tuesday off as my floating holiday, and I took 4 hours of vacation this last Friday. So I was supposed to have a 5-day off, but Friday threw me some curveballs.
Yeah, it did. He had a fun-filled Friday.
Lots of fun. Yeah.
Well, I don't have a whole lot going on. I'm gonna do a little visiting with my mom tomorrow. Kind of take it easy, get out of the shop for a little while. I don't do a whole lot of stuff outside of the shop, so it's probably a good thing that I'm gonna take a day and get out with the family and go do something else for a little while. I'll still probably be in and out, but it's not gonna be a full day. But man, I have been grinding, trying to get caught up, and spring has been for me anyway. The last couple of years, it's kind of the slow period as far as sales drop, views drop. Like it's just like everything kind of drops a little bit. But June all the way up to the end of the year, it starts just steadily ramping up. And so I'm trying to get like me and you've talked about trying to get my cart empty so that I can start taking on stuff and getting geared up towards the fall. So it's been busy. I have been having some fun this week though. I mean, I got to play around with that plastic and it's just been crazy. So I see you've been moving more stuff. Have you exposed any more concrete that you forgot you had?
Well, not as drastic as in the past, but no, I've been cleaning things out a little bit. As a matter of fact, yesterday morning, Scott, one of the viewers, made a long trek from Milwaukee over here because he was interested in a couple of things that I've been mentioning I'd love to find a new home for. And so he and his son came over and picked some things up, which gave me some shelf space and some space down in the office as well, which is nice. But nothing big yet, but I am trying to get the Onefinity cleared off, and I'm thinking about shuffling a few things around because I've got this cart that has some tools and the sanders on it I do use, but it'd be better if they were over closer to the dust collection and such, and I've got some material over there that'd be better over by the lasers, and I think by shuffling some things anytime you do that, you tend to organize and condense.
Yeah.
But it'll get a little bit
things that you can like relocate or get rid of.
Yeah. So I one of the things I'm trying to make some room for is on this back wall. I want to get some space where I can set up the extended Fox Alien, the Masuder 3S. I asked them about the wider setup, and they did include those. So that's something I'm going to do yet. But I want to get some. I don't want it to be set up on like a portable table that I got to move in and out. I want to get it over by the wall where there's outlets and such. So yeah, progress continues on that. But it's slow going when you're working on, got some orders coming in and out. I've got equipment that, like you mentioned, things are slow, and we don't say yes to everything. But sometimes we say yes to things, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, there was a delay," and you're like, "Okay, how?"
And then they start stacking.
And and then all of a sudden the floodgates open, and you're like, "Hold on now," I tried to time this out because I try not to stack product upon product upon product. I try to get project videos in there or tutorial videos in there as well. So
Yeah.
sneak into, I got the Cubico and then the Sculpt Fun exhaust table kind of back to back. But I am working on the edit for another one that's a project video. And it's something people have requested a lot of is almost 2 years to the day. Actually, I got it back here. I've got about almost 2 years to the day I released this Coaster Caddy file and project video. May 27th, 2023. And I'm hoping to launch tomorrow unless, I don't know, the computer gods hate me. Had a lot of people ask, do you have anything for round or hexagonal coasters? And so I sat down and came up with 5 new designs. Now they're not, I mean, nothing's groundbreaking. Coaster caddies are like making a wheel that's round in different ways, right? But I tried to come up with a couple of unique designs for each, including one super simple. If you've got nothing more than a 6x3 inch piece of material, you can make this. And this will hold square tiles. And if your laser doesn't engrave this quality, you need to talk to me about it. But that's done with the UV printer.
I was going to say, that ain't no laser, man.
But they'll hold the square tiles, but they'll also hold round tiles, again, with high quality laser engraved.
Yeah, Rear Admiral Meals over there.
So this is a super simple one. Takes about 6 inches by 3 inches of material. And then we had, of course, step it up to a little bit better for round. So, then we've got the fancy round with the living hinge.
Oh, look at you.
And the kind of layered look. So going to have some options for people. And then, of course, with the hexagonal tiles, I don't use these a lot, but I bought some so I could test it out for some people. Again, if you just want super simple, minimal material, you've got this where it'll hold it in place with just, basically tabs, or we can step it up and get fancy.
Oh, look at you. Got you with some multi-layered materials there. Oh, look at you.
Yep. And so, of course, most of these are done with the true flat plywood because pre-finished, and I liked doing the alternating colors there. To
get the like maple black walnut color tones there. That's the easy way to do it.
Yeah. So anyway, there'll be a variety of options. Like I say, I'm hoping to tomorrow morning, midday, we'll get that video out there. And then I'm probably going to put out a multi-pack file. So if people just want to have all the options, they can buy them in a bundle, maybe save some cash. Otherwise, I'll try to put them out there in individuals if there's just one. But I want to share a couple of things about that. So one of the other reasons I went with True Flat is when working with living hinge, it's a lot of close lines burned together that become very fragile. And so I did some testing in just some craft plywood. And you can kind of see there's more scorching on the inside, and that's really hard to sand out on this stuff. And if you were to mask it, it would be a pain in the butt to weed on those really thin spots. Now, once it's glued in place, it's very durable.
Yeah.
But the other thing is I didn't want to prototype on True Flat because things like this happen. You notice in the center there, I put my center bridges kind of thicker, but it almost kind of creates this wedge arrow shape. I was just looking at that going, I just don't like that. So I went back in and modified it to be just the standard, and I think it looks a lot better. It also gives you some better access to it. So, but that's where it's nice to have a similar material that is a little bit easier on the wallet for prototyping. But again, I wouldn't want to clean up all that charring on there. Whereas with the True Flat, I actually found alcohol to be a little harsh, and I ended up using this Purity lens cleaner, and it cleans it off very well without leaving that kind of white residue. And if you use too much pure alcohol on that True Flat stuff, it'll burn through the finish. So
maybe it's because I missed mine with that little mister. I haven't had a problem so far.
Well, I think on some of them where I've had deeper staining and I'm rubbing it in too much,
Yeah.
that's the thing is if it comes off fairly clean right away, then it seems to work a little bit better.
Yeah. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see here. Try to catch it.
Do we want to test the beta feature?
We can. Yeah, I just thought about that. Now that you mentioned it, we just talked about it. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it works.
Oh, the layout's weird.
That's not good. Let's see if it. It's somewhat. We're gonna have to create us a palette. They're saying that the new software guys, there's this beta thing for StreamYard. If you remember when we used Restream, we could put the comments up here. Well, now they're supposedly fixing it to where you can, but we haven't tried it yet. So let me see if we can fix this little layout issue we have here.
Be really small over here.
Yeah, if we can make the chat a little bigger and get our faces a little bigger, that wouldn't be too terrible. So I wonder about how about this one? What does this one do? Nope, just put them over top of you.
But
well,
we'll have to play with that a little bit and see, because I know that'll when we're bringing it in from both channels and even Facebook and such, some people.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to come all the way up and cover you up over there.
Oh yeah, it is kind of going over the top.
Let's see here. New scene. I don't know if it'll. Let me see. It may let me rearrange some of this stuff. Who knows? Let's see what it'll do. No, there's no resize nowhere.
Jeremy, yes, it is a Viper chair. I broke down and decided to cry once, and yeah, have a more comfortable chair that can glide around the shop a lot easier. So, and plus they're in Wisconsin. You know, I gotta support that state when I can.
Cody done run over sprinkler heads. What's up, Cody? How are you, sir?
No, I think when I was about 8 or 9, I did that on a mowing job. The sprinkler head didn't quite. It wasn't my fault, luckily, because they were supposed to go down, but one stuck up a little bit, and so the guy was really nice about it and said it wasn't. He felt bad because it kind of dang near destroyed my mower as well. I had a little Toro push mower or whatever, but yeah, that's never fun, especially if you got to dig deep and do some extra plumbing on that.
Huh.
But
yeah, I'm not sure how we're gonna have to. What we'll have to do, I think, is gonna have to figure out how to create another scene to fit this chat thing.
And like JT says, many of us have tomorrow off because of the sacrifice of many. So hopefully everybody is enjoying, but also appreciating the meaning of Memorial Day. And if you get a chance to do something meaningful for those that didn't make it home, that served and didn't make it home, we appreciate it. So it's nice to have the holidays, but it's also good to remember why they're there.
So if I put it there,
and Robert says deja vu, like we watched this yesterday. Yeah, we kind of had a last minute invite from Hobo to jump on in his stream, so we both kind of made some time and had some fun over there yesterday. So if you were there, welcome to round 2 for the weekend.
Okay, so it looks like the chat fades out about right there.
Yeah,
so
it's a little small, but
yeah, we'll play around with it and see. You guys can let us know what you think. Yeah, that's got the logos and everything on the background's a little high with that, but I think if we, yeah, right in there, it kind of, I think everything kind of plays well together there. The chat's falling off just as it comes up on your screen there a little bit. So we'll run that and see. It's getting a little busy on there though. Wow. But yeah, we missed it when we went to this software, the Restream. It always, it had like a whole nother panel over there where it would let the comments show up. But yeah, so we'll try this and see how it works there.
Michael's asking, is there going to be a round 3 tomorrow?
Hope not.
if it is, it's going to be a spur of the moment pop-up one. Yeah, I've got some more testing to do out here on some stuff and some work to do, but I don't know that it's stream worthy. But I also have Tuesday off, so we'll see. Maybe I crack open something else and play around with that. It's always fun doing that live because you never know what you're going to forget or what's going to be screwed up. I've done that a couple times with lasers, assembled them, and then, and every other time when I'm doing it, they plug in, they work fine. But it seems when I do it on stream, there's always something being stupid and, you're doing some troubleshooting live. But some of that's fun.
Yeah, I think that's about as flowing as we're going to be able to get it and keep our pictures as big as they are. We can do something with that header in the next week's live, make that smaller. I think that'll shrink the logos down and all that.
Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah. It's getting there.
Perimeter.
Alan's wondering, do you know of an XYZ probe that will work with the Fox Alien CNC? It shouldn't be too hard to set up. Most of them, you just need to be able to tell it, basically the differences between, the side of the probe, the top of the probe and whatnot. But I haven't looked to purchase one of them. I'll be honest, I mostly just use a Z probe because a lot of times the way I'm clamping things, it gets in the way of using that kind of corner spot for the X and Y. But it might be something I play with once I get the extended bed set up because I'll have more room for other clamping options on that one. How about you? Have you looked into any of that? Did you even use the Z probe on the Fox Alien one? Oh, I love the way he has it muted and we can't hear him because it's the best way to listen to him.
Nope. No, the Fox Alien has a plug for Z probing, but it doesn't. It specifically says Z probe. So I don't use the probes at all a whole lot. I used to use them on my Shipoko more often because it was just kind of aggravating to set the 0. But since I started using G-Sender and using that Xbox controller, man, I can set 0 quick because it's just like I'll set it down to bump it 1/4 of a millimeter and just bump it over, bump it down. It is so much faster now than having to, use a mouse or a keyboard or whatever.
Yeah, I like the one on my 150, but I've got the touchscreen. I mean, I've got a 21-inch touchscreen on that one. And so it's really quick and easy to do that. I like using them when I'm doing like the 3D carves or anything like a pocket that's going to use a clearing path and then a finishing one, just because if you don't get that Z, even like 0.5 millimeter difference, you can see it. And if it's too hard to like get in there and finish it off and sand it, then it bugs me. So, but yeah, on some of these, the probes on some of these cheaper ones, they don't work the best. They're lighter weight. They don't seem to be as consistent.
Yeah.
So usually like on the 150, it's got that bigger aluminum block style and it seems pretty good on it.
Well, I use the one on my Shipoko occasionally as far as the X and the Y. The Z, sometimes I'll use the Z probe on it, but once you set the Z on it one time, you don't have to worry about the consistency of the Z because each time you change bits, it goes over to the bit setter and checks it each time. So once you set it one time, even if that Z axis maybe is not exactly the surface of the material, every other bit is going to be at that exact setting when you change bits. So that's one benefit to that one. But yeah, that's what I was doing with that plastic earlier, man. I just put the bit in there, just put another piece up and go. So I don't know. I wouldn't. I get NFC tags, I guess, for certain applications, but I don't know why I don't put like chips in stuff that I do. So I don't know. I use a lot of QR codes, but as far as the NFC stuff, I really hadn't got around to finding the need for it. Most people don't have it turned on anyway.
Yeah, the IT security part of me, because we're going through a whole transition into NIST security now, and you start diving down that rabbit hole, and you just start disliking and wanting to block everything.
Any kind of wireless connection.
Well, even QR codes, you got to be careful of those. You don't want to just go randomly going, oh, let's go see what this is, because that can link you over to some, download or a website that's got some bad code or tracking pixel things in there and such that you don't want. And so, if you're going to a craft fair and you're talking to the person, it's probably okay. But random poster up at the school, no, I'm gonna take that down. So I tend to not for now. There's a difference between things that I'll set up for myself or things that maybe I would want to get from someone else. But that's me. I mean, I have to live the IT security world, and I hate it. It's enveloped more of my job than I care to admit over the past 25 years. So,
yeah. Yeah, I use QR codes. They are useful, but just like websites, you kind of need to trust where you're going. You know what I mean? You gotta know where you're going and trust it. I'm like you. If it's just random QR code stuck to a stop sign somewhere, probably not going to be scanning that because it could take you to any number of things that either you don't want to be around or you don't want having access to your browser, so to speak. So yeah, but like I said, I did my little QR code, and it's pretty cool because I was making the thumbnail for my video earlier that I released, and I was able to take my phone and look at the screen of me editing the thumbnail, and it still recognized the QR code. And I put it over by the door so that when people come and do stuff here or whatever, they can scan it, and it takes them directly to my Google reviews so that you can just go ahead and post a Google review right there to try to help my visual, Google listing, I guess you would say. But that's, those things are pretty cool for what I'm doing there. And I have done a couple, like I did a photo engrave on a piece of wood one time, and it was a guy that had passed away, and like literally days before he passed away, he had left a voicemail for his son. And we took that voicemail, uploaded it to a website, and then had a QR code and burned it in with the image so that when you stood in front of the image and you took your phone and you scanned that QR code, it automatically played that audio file from that voicemail, which was basically just checking in, love you, son type, voicemail. And it was a hit. Because the person who received it, it was like that was a big hit because it was anytime they walked past it or whatever, they could just whip out their phone and it would play that voicemail. It was a very big hit because it was kind of like technology meets, old school images and stuff. But that's like I said, those are the couple of uses that I've used QR codes for in doing laser. Most of my stuff's just for marketing for me.
Yeah, no,
that's like Wi-Fi things.
That's a cool use of it. And having lost my mom at an earlier age than typical, I was lucky enough to find a few recordings, whether it was on video or some audio things, because it's surprising how quickly you start forgetting some of those things like their voice, and just having something like that saved that you can go back and catch that. It's definitely meaningful. who knows how long YouTube's going to be around, but I mean, our kids, they really, they're going to be able to go and look up dad's playlist.
Hours, hours of dad.
Right. But no, I think that's kind of a cool way to incorporate into a memorial for someone, just taking that little extra step. So
let's see what we got here.
ATX Woodworks, working with the Monport Reno 65, had to upgrade Lightburn to their Pro version. They don't use a GRBL based controller.
It's a Ruida, isn't it?
It's a Top Wisdom, which is very similar code to the Ruidas. And so unfortunately, it does need that more advanced or at least more expensive version of Lightburn to work with it. So I've gathered most of the parts, having Friday taken up by vet visits and broken window regulators in my van, kind of set me back a day, but I'm hoping to kind of get through that upgrade, because I know there's a few people in the Reno group and others that are interested in that, because that's probably the one thing I feel is really needed with that one is a better air assist. And we talk about that on so many lasers that's the Achilles heel. Most of them is they go a little cheap on the air pump or the nozzle.
I think what it is they've got this room full of air pumps, and even though the lasers are getting more powerful, they're like, we got all these when we just use these, instead of buying
someone overbuilt too many aquarium pumps and they're trying to blow through them, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I used one of the aquarium pumps to set up the air assist on the Shipoko earlier.
All right.
Yeah, it seems to be working okay for what I've used it for so far, but I can always, if I need to, just pull my shop air hose across there by the front door and chuck it into the system and really crank up the pressure if I need to. But yeah, it's working pretty good so far. 3 Rusty Nails is asking, Clack, will the bed extension work on a 3020 Pro Ultra? According to their website, and that was one thing that I did in the videos, I went to the website and looked at the accessories. According to their websites, they've got it listed as a 3060, I think it was.
That's quite the upgrade.
Yeah, hang on, let me pull it up and make sure I'm. But yeah, it was. I was shocked because I was like, okay, that makes it a lot bigger. But when you go to their website and you look at the machine itself, it took me straight to the cubicle. They're really pushing that thing.
Yep.
Let me get over to it. Got this twitch in my eyelid that's been there for like 2 days, and it will not go away. So if y'all see my eyelid jumping, just disregard. Okay, so 3040. That's what it is. It doubles it to 3040. So we'll show you right here. So there it is right there. For $69, it says that you can extend it. This is the, let's see, 30. Well, this says Pro Max version 1 and version 2. I'm guessing that's the machine there. We're at the 3020 Pro Ultra, and it's got this little enclosure, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't even know they had that. It looks like the old X-Tool control enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
They sell a spoil board for like $19.99. So if you don't have a way of cutting one or don't want to fool with it, Dust Shoe, of course. that one's the. I think is this the one that you've got?
Yeah. It's the one that's on the Reno Pro, as well as it's identical to the one on the Fox Alien.
Yeah. So I'm guessing this extension kit is it'll change it to 3040 instead of 3020. What it looks like to me. It looks like it just comes with another one of these plates and then longer extensions here, and I'm assuming longer screws and rods. Yeah, that's all it's going to be. So it might even come with a plate. No, it doesn't look like it even comes with the plate, though. Yeah, it does. So yeah, I haven't seen that. There it is. There's an illustration. I hadn't seen that until I was doing my video and just kind of looking at some of the specs, making sure I had all my facts straight. And I saw this and I was like, well, that's actually, that would make it a lot bigger work area compared to what it is. but it's a rigid little machine. You haven't really used yours a lot yet, have you?
No, I assembled it just to
It is very
make
rigid.
sure it was good, but I haven't been able to turn it on or hook it up yet.
It's a fun little machine. I'd forgotten how easy those little knobs are for setting the Z-axis and stuff. It just makes it so easy. But yeah, it was a fun little machine. I still got it sitting over there because I don't plan on letting it go anywhere because it is too good for like cutting those little coin blanks and stuff like that. Like, it does a good job with those little pieces of aluminum I've got. I don't have to set my big machine up and get it all like aluminum everywhere.
Yeah.
Looking through the comments here. If you got a question, if we miss you guys, just drop a couple of question marks or something in there where we catch it, because sometimes we get behind and then we never find them. Let's see. Because when you guys are talking back and forth between each other, I don't want to lose a comment in the middle of it.
There's one. Mark's asking, what are your thoughts on the Monport 100-watt MOPA versus the Ohmtech 60-watt MOPA, or do you think X-Tool will come out with a MOPA?
Well, technically, the F1 Ultra it's a MOPA, but it's only a 20 watt, right?
It's not a MOPA though. It's
Is
just
it
a
not?
fiber.
I thought they'd put a MOPA source in it. I don't know. I like the Ohmtech. I've got a Monport 30 watt, which is that one right there. They've threatened to upgrade it to 100 watt for me, but I don't know. After the last experience I had with the Mega, it may be a little while before they reach out to me on that one.
Well, I have zero experience with MOPAs, so I'm just going to.
You haven't gotten one yet, have you?
Nope. Clack gets all the cool toys.
That's the one thing. Well, I didn't get a Eufy make 3D printer thing or UV printer, that thing that you got.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
But yeah, I've got a 30 watt MOPA and a 60 watt. The 60 watt does everything the 30 does and more. It just does it faster. So I like it. Works really well. Radu, if you can swing the 4040 Max, because you're looking at $600 versus $1,000. So if depending on the size of the projects, if you're wanting to do bigger projects, then of course the 4040 is going to be better because you can actually upgrade it and go bigger, with it to like, 40 by 60, isn't it? And just like with the Fox Alien, the Fox Alien's a 40 by 40, but Steve's got a kit to where you can make it like twice as wide as what it is. So it depends on how big of things you're wanting to make. If you're wanting to do like cutting out earrings or acrylics and plastics or cutting out coin blanks and stuff that's small, then like I cut this aluminum coin out the other day with this little 3020, and this is almost 1/4 inch thick aluminum. So if you're doing small things, the 3020 is fine. It's very rigid and very capable. I like it. But if you're wanting to do like signs and door hangers and stuff like that, you're gonna have to get bigger, because you're not anything bigger than like a catch tray like this size. You're not going to be able to do it on a 3020. Let's see the Sasquatch signs and stuff that I did. Those are about as big as you're going to want to do to stay away from the limit switches and stuff on a 3020.
Yeah, I mean the 3020 would sit within the working area of the 4040.
Yeah, 4040 is going to be a bigger work area.
Yeah.
Just depends on what you're wanting to do. Like I said, like we talk about all the time, if you're wanting to engrave cutting boards and you're wanting to engrave the whole cutting board at 16 inches, then, you got to have a machine big enough to do the job. But the 4040 or the 3020, either one of those, the 4040 Pro Max is very solid machine. It's a good one. The Fox Alien's a good one. Now, that Fox Alien's a little more expensive because it doesn't come with a 710 router. It only comes with that little spindle, and it's more expensive than the 4040 is with the router. So you just got to figure out what your budget is and go from there.
You know, but yeah, if you're going to extend it, I really like the fact that you can widen the Fox Alien one without making it deep. So that's one of the things that attracted to me. Plus, closed loop steppers.
Close stick loopers. Close stick loopers.
I can talk today. They do provide a little more rigidity, a little better. You know, it's going to keep it on track better. Assuming the belts and everything are kept tight. So,
yeah. Mark's asking, how do you fix the blanks to the base? Do you use tabs? And yes, Mark, I tried not using tabs, but with aluminum, it's tricky because the sticky stuff, you know, if I put sticky stuff on here, that little bit of an area, unless you just really slow down your speeds and feeds, it pulls it loose from the board. So I secure, these are just scrap pieces. I go by the machine shop and like dig through their scrap and buy like a 5-gallon bucket of stuff for $20. So I just leave little tabs and I leave them really, really, really small. And then I go back and knock those off of there with a little oscillating saw blade and then clean them up with the sander or the bandsaw. So, yeah. But that's where this coin came from here the other day. I cut it out with a 1/4-inch O-flute Jenny bit. So, yeah. But now it's got this cool badge engraved in it and stuff. It's still a work in progress. I didn't like the artwork on that, so I'm redoing it. Of course, I have the Vintage Workshop Clack Shack coin. This is the Who's Right or Wrong coin, and I've got it kind of weighted to where it gives you the correct answer every time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tabs is what I've been using here lately. Because once you cut it loose from here, even with like some adhesive, I tried super glue with tape and I tried the X-Fasten tape. The speeds and feeds that I'm running, it's ripping it loose from the base. So the only option I could come up with was I had to have some little tiny tabs. Now I do the 3D pyramid tabs, and so there's really a tiny amount of aluminum holding. But yeah, so it presents a little bit of cleanup afterwards because you gotta. But if you cut them off close as you can to the coin, it's not as bad.
Yep.
But yeah.
So on the topic of metal, I was running this test and it just finished up. So this is a little brass tag.
Wow, that's a dark engrave on brass.
Well, that's with the little Atom Stack P1, that 1.2 watt module. Now, mind you, this is about a 3/4 inch smiley face.
How long did it take?
So I had to run it at 500 millimeters a minute, and I think it was 80% power, and they recommended a 0.010 interval. So that, my friends, is about 58 minutes.
Hey, it did it. It didn't do it fast, but it did it.
But it did it. Yeah.
Picked up Lee saying picked up an Atom Stack 70-watt Pro, just started using it, but surprised how I get it flame detection and keep shutting it down. If flame detection is shutting it down, you need to speed up a little bit. Because that thing, 70 watt, I've got mine right here, and it will cut through some stuff. I'm kind of curious, are you using air assist? And if so, what do you have your air assist turned up to? Because if you're cutting, you need to have the air turned up as high as you can get it with that 70 watt. The double barreled air compressors that Atom Stack uses, like this guy right here, which is Dusty. It has a knob on the top of it. Make sure you crank that bad boy all the way up. Make sure it's working. Because, like I said, that 70 watt, that's a lot of power. And if you're not using a honeycomb, you need to be using a honeycomb, a good honeycomb. Because that 70 watt will actually cut the aluminum on a honeycomb.
You can go into even like the touch panel on there, and I forget, does it have medium or like high, low, and off, or is it just on and off?
Give me just a second. I'll let you know.
Because on most of mine, I turn them down low or
All right.
even
So we have the here, and I'm going to hit settings. Let's see. No, it's just off or on.
okay.
It's got which mine is off. Autofocus I've got turned on. I've got resume engraving turned off. Touch sound turned off. Auxiliary positioning turned off. Yeah, I turn all that.
So yeah, that's the thing with like a lot of the lasers that have the fire suppression systems in them.
Yeah.
If you're getting flame detections just on normal cutting, I would hate to have the fire suppression system going off because it thought there was a bigger problem than just a flare up. So I turn them down low if I can, or I turn them off and just make it a habit to not step away, especially on those higher power ones that are cutting flammable material. So
yeah, but mine's turned off, so that's probably why I don't have mine go off. But I haven't started a fire with it, but I've got mine set up to run shop air now. So I don't use their pump. Their pump worked okay, but it had a little extra charring. So when I converted over to shop air, it gets a lot cleaner cut now.
Yep. Dan B's asking, Bamboo A1 still a recommendation for entry-level 3D printing?
It is, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you've never done anything with it, it's definitely, they're one of the ones that are going to make it easier, and the price point is pretty nice. There are similar printers. People are kind of stepping up now. I mean, Creality has their their latest one out that is kind of matching some of the performance, but still a little mixed reviews on the quality. Some people saying they need to refine it a little bit. The new one from Elegoo, the Carbons, or the Centauri or whatever, pretty decent. But I was talking with Scott, he's got one, and apparently if on the higher heat settings, some of their thermistor and their connectors are getting a little brittle. So maybe a thing to wait for version 1.2 ish or whatever they come out with that. But that's another inexpensive one that seems to be performing fairly well for a number of people. But yeah, I've been using the Bamboo A1 Mini and the A1 for about a year now. Now I don't use it day in and day out, but I've only had a couple of prints, fail. I haven't quite had the mesh you had with the one print on yours.
I don't know what happened with that one, other than I didn't have my bed adhesion set right.
But yeah, I've had a couple of minor ones where I've had to. It didn't get that bad, but I did have to pull the print head, clean it out. So if you do get one, no matter what 3D printer you get, I would strongly recommend get a spare hot end for it, because if it does mess up, you're probably going to be down for a bit while you clean it up, and it's nice to be able to just swap it out with a clean one and get going again. So.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you'll end up with one of these. I kept this so that I need to make me like a plaque and like put some screws into it and be like worst 3D.
Well, you're holding it that way. I mean, you just need a few more letters to spell out clack. You kind of got a CL there.
Yeah, and it's even like that little plastic piece. I got it molded itself right there. So, but it surprisingly, I didn't have to change out nothing. No parts had to be swapped out. I just had to disassemble it, clean it really good. I had to heat it up to clean it and use my heat gun, and then put it back together. And he's been running like a champ ever since. I've been 3D printing brackets and stuff for these CNCs and all that. So, yeah, it's something else.
Steve Rossman's asking, do you guys know of a way to control Jamitsu 4040 Pro with a controller or anything other than keyboard? I've been using easel. I'm not that familiar with easel, but if you can export the files from there and run like GSender or even UGS and Candle consider, but GSender for me, I'm finding the interface to be much easier to work with. In there, they actually have a plugin that you can configure a controller. They have kind of defaults for, I think, PlayStation and Xbox, but if you plug in a generic controller, you basically press a button. It says, okay, this is the key I'm registering. What hotkey do you want it to be? So it could be, changing your speeds of your travel, or it could be, a home operation, a zero operation, or then the joypads, you can say, okay, yeah, that's X axis. This is Y axis. That's Z. So I don't know that you can do it through easel. But if you can export the files and use a regular G sender type, or use G sender or another G code sender, then yeah, you can set them up.
Yeah, you probably. I think I haven't used Easel in a long time, but I think you could just like assign keys, like hotkeys, and use one that way. But the easiest way, I said, G Sender has become my new favorite software for controlling the machines. I was tempted today to swap the Shapoko over to it, but the only problem is I don't think my bit setter will operate properly in G Sender. If it will, it's probably a setup process that's going to be very complicated.
So I just did a quick search on that, and it does look like you need to use a mapping software. So they recommend Joy to Key. So what it does is it'll map a joystick control to a keyboard shortcut, like you were saying, rather than having. So it's a third application you'd have to add to it, and then you'd have to go in and do those mappings. But yeah, it looks like it is possible through Easel to do that with that third party.
Yeah, 51 Design saying they run 8 P1Ss and 4 A1s. So still loves them. So yeah, I can't find a bad. I will tell you this: if you ever do start having trouble with your prints with the bamboo, dry your filament, because I started having problems and I had like 4 or 5 failed prints within a week, and I'm like, what am I doing? And I checked everything, and I was like, man, what am I doing wrong? And it was just my filament was sitting in there getting wet because I wouldn't use it up fast enough. So, and you can't really see it right now, but my filament dryer is right over there. And I just took the filament off my printer that's been on there for a little while and brought it out here, and I'm drying it and putting it in bags to take it back in the house. And since I've started doing that and rotating that stuff out and keeping it dry, I haven't had any problems. It's amazing how big of an issue that can be.
Yep. Yeah, I have a single spool one from Sunlu. It's okay. It does work. I just don't like the interface on it, but it was super cheap. And I think it was an Amazon sale. I thought, well, I'll grab it and try it out.
Yeah, see, once I get them dried, I just put them in a Ziploc.
Yeah, you got to get those big gallon bags, and they just barely squeeze in there. But it does make a world of difference. Let's see. Well, this one could be a bit of a demo. Rob's asking, is there a way in Lightburn to update the size of all the slots on a file?
Yes.
There is. It's called the slot and tab, or what do they call it? The material resize tool or the slot and tab tool? There's an actual name for it.
Slot resize, I think it is.
Resize slots in selection, I believe, is what it is.
You gonna show it?
Oh, let's. Who's that?
Can you? If not, I can throw it up there.
My computer's been weird on Lightburn. If you've got it,
well, give me just a second. I'll throw Lightburn together here.
We're real prepared for this.
I can do it. I just didn't. I was going to let you show it if you wanted.
Mine's been weird.
Yeah. So let me open something that's got slots. Let me see here in my file design. See if we got something in here that's got slots. Is that got? I know I got something with some slots. Oh, there it is. There's one. All right. So the first thing that you're going to have to do, like, see how this is all grouped up? I'm going to ungroup all this because unless they fixed it, if it's grouped, it won't work right. So what you're going to come in here and do is, like, see these little slots here, like that one. If you click on it, it's showing that it's 2.8 wide and 5.8 tall. So you're going to go over here to your tools. Wait a minute. Is it? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. I got to select it first. Tools. See, I should have let you do it. Resize slots in selection. And I'm going to go over here and like old material thickness. I'm going to set this to 2.8. New material thickness. We'll just exaggerate it so you can see it. We'll set this to 5. Slot width. Well, stand by. Tab height. There. Wait a minute. Yeah, there's the ones that is fine, and these other ones are going to be a different size. So what you would do basically once it finds them and you see that that's them, you would just hit the apply, and it's going to change the thickness of the material there. So we're going to go ahead and undo that. Same thing, like if you was trying to redo these tabs right here, I'm going to have to measure and see what these are set to. My little things over here on the other page. So that segment length is set to 2.9. So technically I could go in here, select all of that, go tools, resize. I could put the 2.8 and I could change this tolerances here to like 0.2. And let's see if it lets me find them. Slot, tab, slot depth. Yeah, see, it's weird. I'm not, and it may be that these things aren't like a lot of these little lines right here. See how that's a rounded corner? Yeah, that's what's screwing this one up. This is a terrible, terrible file to be trying to demonstrate on. Hang on. Give me a second. Let me find a file. I knew there was something caused it. I'm like, why is it not finding them? But yeah, that, and if you go to like boxes.py, a lot of times they'll have those little loops on them, and it'll prevent it from working also.
Should try presenting in the other mode because that was a pretty small screen to look at.
Yeah, let me make sure that
even if I hid myself.
Let me make sure that this actually isn't got loops on. Yeah, this has got loops on them.
But yeah, it's got to be 90-degree corners. They have to be kind of a single line. If it's broken up into multiple sections, it often doesn't see them. You can adjust the variance to try to find, like if it's a really bad file and someone has, one is maybe 0.125 and the other one's 0.15 and such. Yeah. You can give a variance and then it'll try to even them out. But anytime you have curves or like not a right angle, it's not necessarily going to see it correctly. So it's a good tool for like box joints that are very square or, slots in like the center of a material. But it's not perfect. And you also have to remember, like on these caddies, if you were to resize these and have it just, a lot of times it just wants to pinch in both sides equally. It's actually going to change the dimensions of this inner circle. You want it just to move the outer line instead of the inner line. So it's a decent tool to work with in some scenarios, but in other ways, you have to kind of just manually go in and make your adjustments.
Yeah, when it works great. But there's a lot of times, like I said, if you get a file that's got the little loops, or like this one's got the rounded corners. Because like if you go in and you create stuff with boxes.py, which I did a lot of the joinery that I use, I had boxes created. I got some stuff that I have done manually, but it's not the same size. But if it's got rounded corner, it has to have square corners for it to actually detect those. So yeah, and every one of these things I open has either got rounded or loops. You'd think I had one that didn't have rounded or loops. Let's see which one. Let's see, what was it? I made something the other day and I made the joints. Don't remember what it was. Open. I'll find something in a minute. But yeah. Paint wall storage. Wait a minute. Yeah, I bet that one. All right, I done got in a rabbit hole trying to find one that doesn't have loops or rounded edges. That's got rounded edge. I give up. Every one of them's got rounded.
All right, hold on here.
I know I've got some that don't have rounded edges. Oh, look at you. You got a little file there.
So what we're looking at is if you wanted to use a thicker material, these need to come deeper. And let's just select the top two. Like Clark said, it's good to come over to the left side here. You got your measure tool. It's going to pop up this extra window, and whichever segment you want to measure is going to highlight, and it'll show up in the top here. It says segment length. So these happen to be 0.1181 for whatever reason. So you'll remember that. And now with that selected, we're going to come to resize slots. And once you set that material thickness in here, so 0.1181, it's going to start highlighting.
It's not showing your sub screens.
Oh, sorry. All right. Let me change that because you're going to want to see that. These tools some days.
Yeah, it was just instead of the full screen, it was just showing that window.
I got you. Share screen, whole entire screen. Ah, there we go. This should do it. All right. Now, if we open up our measurement tool, now you can see that. There we go.
Yep.
So you want to select your segment, and in the window you see there, we want to measure the depth here. It's showing up as 1181, and that's this upper corner right. And I can't highlight it, but it's right here, this segment length. So with your selection set up, we come to tools, resize slots. And once you put that in the old material thickness, it'll identify anything in your selection that it sees. Now here it's showing slot depth, slot width. You see they disappear, or tab height. That's going to show a little bit different. If we zoom in here, you can actually see better what it's going to do. So tab height, it's wanting to push these tabs out. If I went slot depth, it's going to want to push those in. And so that's something to be taken into consideration. Are you wanting to go deeper into your material or slide it out because it's going to be more your inside or your outside dimension? So once you have that set up, so in this one, say we want to make our tab heights bigger, we would set our new material thickness. So let's say it was a quarter inch. It's going to show you what it's going to do. Now, unfortunately, this one is not showing up, probably because it's on the edge, but we can also play around with our tolerance to see if it picks it up, and it's not. But that's some of the little caveats to it, is if it doesn't see this as like a solid object, so this might not be, it does look like it's connected. I'm not 100% sure why it's not picking up that one.
Yeah.
And that's some of the weirdness you got to look at with this software. So once you hit apply, it's going to automatically bump those out. But like I said, we'd have to go back and look at this file to figure out, maybe this isn't a perfect 90-degree angle or something as to why it's not popping out.
Like I said, when it works, it's great. But when it don't, it just don't. So, yeah.
So hopefully that gave you an overview of what that tool does and can do. But I don't expect it to work miracles.
Yeah. Sometimes too, like I said, if the file's just too random, you can't do something. You can't do nothing with it. Star of Texas is saying, what streaming software do you use for streaming? I see this type of similar streaming format lately. We use StreamYard, and we used Restream for like the first year. And then they kept jacking the price up, and it got buggy to where we were having issues. And so we gassed that one, and we went over to StreamYard. And we wanted the little drawing tool that you can draw for prizes and stuff. We wanted it. So they didn't have it in Restream at the time. So we come over here. So there's Bessemer, Alabama. Hello, sir. How are you? It's halftime, guys. Now for the halftime show, Steve. You gonna sing?
Oh, it is. Sing? No, I sang earlier. But yeah, it's feels like it's been 3 hours because of yesterday.
Yeah. But
So it looks like 51 Designs said, thanks for the reviews on the Omni 1 5-watt UV. I ordered mine 2 days ago. Keep great work on the videos. Love that you say the good with the bad. Yeah, we try to we try to keep them honest. I mean, both manufacturers, but also our videos. You know, neither of us really like to be the salesperson. I'm more of a. I told a company this recently. I said, I know you want me to do this stuff, but I'm more of a teacher than a salesperson. And if they decide to buy something because they learned something, that's the win. Now, you know, there's been some videos floating around lately about, you know, why don't you see bad reviews and such, and there's some truth to a number of those, and some of it is, you know, we get offers from a lot of stuff that they're no name stuff that we don't want to just take anything and just sell it to you guys. But we look for things that we think would be useful, or things you're looking at and you want to get some better, you know, I tend to test them. Like, you say it's going to cut this or it's going to engrave at this speed, I'm going to test it at that. And generally I'm backing off of those and saying, realistically, this is what you can cut. Or, you know, they say it can go at 35,000 millimeters a minute, but you're going to probably top out at 10,000 for effectiveness and such. So yeah, we try to keep it a good overview, because, you know, you guys are looking to spend some money on stuff. We want to give you as much information as you can and know that when you get it, this is what you can expect from it. So, yeah, I'm glad that the people seem to see them that way, and hopefully if you ever feel we're getting outside that, feel free to tell us nicely.
Yeah, Jack says, what is the least expensive, also best quality laser for metal? Those two words can't even be in the same sentence. Because your least expensive is not going to be your better quality. So there, depending on what you're wanting to do with metal, if you're wanting to engrave it, you're definitely going to want to get a fiber. You're not going to want to play with any of these little IR modules. If you're just wanting to, you know, do jewelry and like small lockets and stuff like that, then yeah, you can do it with an IR. But it depends on what you're trying to do.
Well, you also have to add in the third variable there. The time it takes to do something.
Yes.
Because you can, you know, I mean, if you want to put a black mark on brass, you can do it with a 1.2 watt module, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah, that took, how long did you say that took? An hour?
Yeah, this is almost an hour to do this small marking on here.
But for some people, this was an hour with a 60 watt. Yeah. So, you know, yeah, like Steve said, it's kind of like you can get places with a bicycle, or you can get places with a car. I mean, you can get there. It's just, it's going to take you a lot longer. The IR stuff is really handy for the anodized things and the really small metal projects. Like if you wanted to put, you know, a name on a, you know, barbecue spatula or something like that, you could do that with an IR module. But if you were wanting to do 100 of them, yeah, it's going to take you a while.
Yep. So yeah, it depends on what you're wanting to do with it. You know, if you want to do just marking, that opens it up a little bit, because you can get by with a good 20 watt fiber just to mark some metals.
Oh yeah.
But if you want to start going deep, actually having some depth to them, and not wait all day, you're going to need to up that. But even the 20 watt fibers tend to be, they're not cheap. I wouldn't call them, I mean, yeah. Least expensive is a relative term.
Yes. Sandra's saying, would the OhmTech 50 watt be a good purchase? I can't speak for all OhmTechs, but that 60 watts done a good job so far. That's the only experience I got with an OhmTech fiber. And so far, it's done a really good job. There's that weird thing about having to push the source button before it'll even frame or work. I don't know why they did that. It makes no sense, but once you get in the habit of pushing that button, it's not that big a deal. F1 Ultra, yeah, they're definitely not cheap. You could actually buy, I think the OhmTech and the F1 Ultra is about the same price.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you're paying for kind of the
ecosystem.
Yeah, the ecosystem that is going to make it easier for someone that kind of has no idea what they're doing to get started. X Tool is pretty good about having, they've got their material library that's going to get you close. Their camera works pretty well. Their software, their software brings up, hey, this is the first time you connected your laser. Let's go through a sample project. They're really aiming at the person who, I think this is cool, but I have no idea what I'm doing. You're going to pay a price for that. So.
Yeah, they're the same price, literally the same price right now. You've got the F1 Ultra and the OMTech. Well, it's a 20, 30, 60 watt autofocus. The 60 watt is $39.99, and so is the Ultra. So yeah, but there again, the F1 Ultra has a camera in it. It does have the blue laser. Like you said, it has the X-Tool ecosystem, which has the AI tools and their software. And it's a different animal. But if all you're trying to do is mark metal, and that's your only care is that you want to mark metal and mark it faster, then yes, the 60 watt would be better. But like I said, it's hard to compare those two machines as far as market metal. But if you look at the whole totality of the circumstances, the F1 Ultra does bring some things to the table that the OMTech doesn't. The OMTech is not enclosed. So if you were trying to use this around your kids, it's not as safe. It doesn't have exhaust built into it. It doesn't have a fan built into it. So, I mean, there are advantages of getting, say, the F1 Ultra, but if you're in a production environment and your only care is to crank them out fast, you're going to be better off with a 60 watt.
Yeah, the thing about X Tools is pretty much plug and play. That's true. I mean, if you want to pretty much drop it in place, hook up your computer, download their software, and go, it's hard to mess it up. So.
Keith saying on the comm marker, you've even had some quality control issues. Have you guys lifted up the plate and looked at the electrical inside? No, I really haven't had a need to. It's worked. So,
yeah, I think wasn't it JR? I think had maybe a connection off on his. He had to pop it up. So yeah, I've read about some of those. Luckily I haven't had any problems with mine yet. I got mine just before I came down there for Workbench Con, I think, because I assembled it just to make sure everything was good and did a quick test on it. So, but yeah, I mean, that's true about a lot of lasers, and it's all how they respond to it, as I well know with WeCreate.
Yeah. Is there a way to send a picture by chat? Dave, you can send pictures to our Facebook pages and stuff, but no, you can't send pictures through YouTube. You can email, you can send them through Facebook Messenger to our Plaque Shack or Ventari's Workshop pages, but not through the live stream. There isn't now. Lee says he started with an X-Tool D1 and an X-Tool F1. Now have an Algo laser and Laser Pecker 4 and an Atom Stack. X-Tool taught me a lot. I don't know if he's being facetious or if he's being true. But
well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people learn. They dove into lasers with the X-Tool D1. It was affordable, and they learned some things. But then when they came to wanting to get more power and some other features, found there are other. Once you kind of know a little bit about something, you feel a little more comfortable diving in and maybe having to set up software or do some things. So yeah, I can see that. But yeah, matter of fact, I just pulled the Algo laser off the shelf again, and I'm not sure I left this part in the video. I forgot how fast that thing moves in its white space scanning, because I was doing a test where it was doing an engrave and then it jumps down to do the cut, and I was saying something in the video, and the head all of a sudden just moved really quick towards my hand, and I went, whoa. I think I was pointing to some smoke or something in it, but yeah, it however you learn. I mean, I talk about this in my RC airplane hobby. There's a lot of people who they have this world of hate for like flight controllers that have gyros and GPS stabilization. They're like, oh, you're not learning how to fly. I'm like, yeah, but if the effect is that the person has a good experience instead of fighting it the whole time, then it gets them into the hobby, then they can grow from there. And kind of the same thing. Sometimes you pay for the features that make sure they're, it's like having training wheels to get you started. So you have some quick wins rather than failures, and you're more likely to stick with it and learn.
Yeah. Ryan's saying he had a video idea last night, engraving coins with lasers and CNC, showing the difference each uses for each, strengths and weaknesses of each way. Yeah, it's I haven't got into trying to engrave them with the CNC yet, because it's just I can get so much more detail with the Mopus. It would be cool, and I have thought about it. I've been playing around with the different aluminums and all this, but that's just that has not been something that I could devote the time to come up with enough information on yet. I've been playing with it. Y'all seen I keep making these different coins and making them from scratch, not ordering blanks or anything like that. I'm going to the machine shop, getting the metal and making them. And once I get the process figured out, I'm going to go get some brass. But the brass is like 6 times more expensive than aluminum. So right now I am training with aluminum until I figure out the process. And then once I do that, then I'll swap over. But I think the aluminum looks cool. It's not as gold looking. Bert says he's got a question. I've been looking for this comment for 10 minutes. I finally found it. Said he purchased a pattern from you. It holds paint bottles. Unfortunately, the hole slots are not big enough. He needs them 3/4 inch. If he's trying to, I'm guessing he's trying to make it out of 3/4 inch plywood or something.
No, his bottles are probably bigger because the craft ones are not quite a full 3/4 like the ones you get at Michael's and Walmart. I think they're just a touch smaller. Let me look at that really quick, because I think 3/4 inch might be pushing the edge of that one. So it might the whole file might need to be stretched. And
maybe you could just set that to a layer and add some kerf offset, and boom, you made your circles bigger.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is there's not necessarily enough material to make them big enough for that. He's
saying 1.5 inches now. I just seen that comment down at the bottom pop up.
Okay. Bert, I think, did you email me about this too? Because I remember this coming up, and it may have been during one of those times I was bouncing around a bit. Let me try to look at it and see if that's the case. It shouldn't be terribly hard, but yeah, you got to kind of get it all lined up right.
Apparently, there's 129 watching on my channel, and I got 129 episodes, and I have 129 days left. So apparently, right now is the time of 129.
Well, we can fix that. They can just all hop over to my channel.
Trade Skiller says arrived DOA, a connector inside the base wasn't connected properly, was a quality issue, got community help that night, found it, machine's good otherwise. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes with these machines, when you open a machine up and see hot glue everywhere, it's like, what? I mean, because
yeah,
I used to work on a lot of electronic stuff back in the days of CB radios and amplifiers and all that. I never used hot glue. Now, we did use wax, like to seal the potentiometers that you use to adjust frequencies and stuff inside a machine. We would melt wax and dip and drip on there to kind of hold that, to keep the, keep vibration from moving those pots, but never used hot glue. So sometimes you have to scratch your head, but yeah. It wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know me and Steve both have received machines from different companies that either had a plug that come unplugged really easy, or a wire that was pinched, broken, plug got broke, button broke, something. I mean, it happens. So I'm glad you got it fixed. I think I remembered that, seeing a post.
Yeah, I remember that as well. So yeah, okay, Bert, I'm looking at the file now, and it does look like those slots, or the holes for the paint bottles, are 1.4 inch in diameter, and you need them 1.5. I don't think that's going to be too difficult. Like you say, I think let me just try an offset real quick here. We go up one.
So if you got enough room, making circles bigger is easy.
All right, let me.
Edward, Steve has used a portable power station before. I use a Whisper generator. It's a little, what's it, 9? Whew. A 900 watt. Yeah, there's yours. There's his fancy little cooler looking thing.
This is the the medium size that I have. I have a smaller one and a bigger one. So I'm currently testing the Atom Stack P1, which is going to have a similar power draw to the F1. I have done a video on using this. I think it was my North Shore doing slate tiles off grid and such. So if you want to look at that one, you can. Otherwise, hopefully in a day or two, I'll have this other video out because I will test kind of the draw of it and how long to expect. I'm not necessarily recommending this brand, yay or nay. It's worked good for me. But the thing I look for is your usable watt hour per dollar. That's, if you can kind of get the most bang for your buck there. A lot of these are very similar, and for what you're using it here with an X-Tool F1 and maybe a laptop, you're not putting a huge draw on these. So you're not going to necessarily need a lot of features. So I generally go for usable power first for dollar, but then you also want to look at its charge rate and, can it charge faster off of like AC power? Because some of them have a limiter of maybe like 200 milliamps or something at a time, and it's really slow. So you want to be able to get that a little bit higher. So, but yeah, I do have a couple videos on my channel about using these remotely or off grid, I guess I should say.
Yeah, you used one of them down here when you went to Florida somewhere.
Yep.
Robbie said 129 is a lucky lotto number. He said if I tell him we got 129 CNC bits, he's buying a ticket. I don't know how many bits I got. I got a bunch of them because I got the one, you see that one holder that's mounted to my CNC table. That's my Genie Bit organization magazine for my Genie Bits. But I had all my bits out today looking through it, trying to figure out, let me try this one with the plastic. Let me try this one with the plastic. And I looked and I'm like, my gosh, I have collected quite a few bits in 2 years? Yeah, about 2 years since I got my first CNC. I have collected quite a few. So.
All right. I can do a quick demonstration for Bert to hopefully this will tell us if this is what he's looking for or not. But we'll do this the right way so you can actually see all anything that comes in. All right.
Do it right.
I think this is the file you're talking about, the paint caddy. And so what we're looking at is these circles. If I highlight one, you see the width and the height is 1.4063. And so if you need it to be 1.5, Clacker's right. Just doing a simple offset would be an easy way to do that. So you can do them individually, but you have your offset tool. And here we would want to go outward and we would set our offset distance however much we want to add to it. So in this case, 0.1 inch should bring it larger. So you can kind of see it's previewing it there. And now if you want to, we can also tell it to delete the original objects. And so now it took out the old circle and made it this bigger one in here. And now if we highlight this, it's actually 1.602. So it's a little bit bigger. I should have done that in half, I guess. That's why.
Yeah, you did diameter instead of radius.
Yep. So, all right, let's undo that and undo that. So if I do my mathing from, way back when, we would take.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do half. You're gonna have to do half the value that you're trying to increase the size.
So 0.05. We're gonna delete original objects, and now we click on here, and now it's at 1.5062. So that would be an easy way to increase those. And on this one, you still have enough meat on the blade that you don't really need to increase the size of those at all. Now, if you want to, you can actually just select all of them. Well, I don't want to do it that way.
You're going to ungroup them.
Nope. Come on. Right to left should only grab the objects that are fully within it. There we go. So you can go right to left, just select them so that you grab them entirely. If it touches other things but doesn't grab the whole object, it won't select it. Now you can do the whole bunch of them together, do the same thing, and it'll resize them. So hopefully that will fix it for you. And anybody else, if you're trying to resize small objects, that offset tool is a nice way to do it. So let me know if that doesn't work for you, and we'll get you set up with that.
Yeah, especially with circles, because you don't have to worry about the corners rounding or anything like that. I mean, it's circles. The offset tool is easy for making circles bigger or smaller. Good thing you left that extra thickness there.
Well, yeah, I mean, want to have a little bit of a balance there, but
oh, look at there, stranger. He's been gone for 3 months, sold all his stuff, just getting back into it. He's new to laser engraving again now. You stay out of it 3 months, you just forget all the equipment and everything because you just get left behind, man. Welcome back. I got him a bigger space.
Yeah, he's got that's a bigger power station too, and that's the other thing. So I use mine not only for on the road for laser engraving stuff, but we do road trips. I've got a 12-volt cooler that acts like a fridge, powers off of that when I'm parked somewhere. Otherwise, I can have that plugged into my 12-volt on the van, so it works great for that. Or like you say, power outage, you can still run some things with it. But he's got one much bigger, the 2400 watt. This is, I think, a 700 watt unit that I've got here, five or 700. My other one's about 1,000 watt. Santa's Laser Engraving is asking, is there any reason that laser engravers do not control the Z-axis while running? Just thought after I ran a slight curved wood plaque and it was in focus and center, but out above below. Well, there are some that are starting to do that, but the trick is they have to have their ability to map the object and set up that pathing. And so that generally tends to put you into their specific software. So like Xtool would create a space. They've got that on like the P2, the S1, and I think maybe the F1 has some of that capability as well. Or the F1 Ultra?
The F1 Ultra does, and the S1, I think you can do it you have to map it with a pen. Yep. If I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So but then we're seeing others. I think they advertised the Bonport Mega had that feature, and
they said it did.
But yeah,
if it works in their software, it may actually have that feature. But I couldn't get it to work.
So yeah, it's really it's a mix between the software driving it as well as the algorithm to create the mapping. So like in Lightburn, you can tell it if it's got a powered Z, you can say like do 3 passes and every pass drop down like 0.5 millimeter. So you can slowly drop down that Z axis, but it's not going to dynamically do it through their software yet.
Wouldn't and I may be wrong, I don't know a lot about the controllers, but also you'd have to make sure that the controller has the ability to direct 2 axes at one time and not just one. Because I know a lot of times you can move X or you can move Y, but you can't move X and Y necessarily. So, if you're moving X and Z at the same time, you have to be able to have those 2 lines of communications with the machine as far as the way the controller's set up. I don't know if that's something that, if there are controllers that don't, but the software and the controller is going to have to be able to pull that off. And I know some of these machines, like that one that you've been having so much trouble with, I don't know that controller could take much more.
Well,
because it gets buggy.
It
gets very buggy.
Can't even finish a job for me.
Have you got it on bi-directional field? Is that the problem?
No, I'm using their software.
That's just touchy subject with Steve right now, guys.
But yeah, I think you'll start seeing more of it, but being able to do the mapping for it and then translate that into the software is kind of the thing. So you're starting to see it in like I say, some of the machine specific software, but not necessarily in a more widely applied use. Where'd that go? Yeah. I don't know where Clack went, but Greg's asking if he missed winning the free laser. And it sounds like chat's already told him that we did the whole Oprah thing and everybody got a laser, which is unfortunately not true. But no, we haven't done any giveaways today. So I have been bringing in some of these smaller lasers, these portable lasers to test, to provide some feedback on what some of these less expensive options might be like. You know, the F1 is great for a portable one, but it's also what, $1,200, $1,300. Whereas we're seeing a lot more of these smaller. Some of them are enclosed, some of them are open gantry, from anywhere from $150 to $300-$400. And I'm wanting to test them to see would they be plausible portable lasers for doing things on site. And I can't keep them all, so the plan is, in some way, amongst all the rules and regulations we have, we'll be trying to give them away in the future. But
don't get me started. I'm still mad that I can't give something away.
Yeah,
without the government putting their hand on me.
Yep.
But whatever.
So you didn't miss anything tonight, but definitely stay tuned. You know, whether we just do some shop cleaning some night and say, all right, if you've got a use for this, speak it now.
Yeah, just keep your eyes peeled because there may be situations. I haven't heard from Algo. They were going to send me 2 of those Pixies, and I was going to get those out of here.
Yeah, they were supposed to send me one as well, but last I heard is they were delayed, and I don't know. But so we'll see. We're trying to do things like that to, you know, be able to test them out for you, but then get them out to you, to at least a few of you. We can't, unfortunately, provide 158 currently that are watching across all of our channels.
No, you gotta just be in the right place at the right time and be a little lucky, I guess. Because like I said, the government don't let you do it the way you want to do it. You have to do it by their rules. So, but we're gonna continue to strive for that. And it won't be too long. We're gonna be having us a retirement party live. So y'all guys can like give me stuff then. Steve can send me like I can open my gifts from Steve. Like I can just set all my gifts that Steve sends me.
You
can open them.
Careful, they might be gifts that look a lot like your orange things, but they might not be the color orange.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Greg, I figured you're kidding, but you know, we are working on it, but yeah, we've hit a little bit of a road bump with some of the legalities of it, and also waiting on stuff. Like you said, we've reached out with people, and you know, sometimes like the Pixie, for example, from Algo, that was something they talked with us. It was winter. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we still haven't been able to get our hands on them yet, and so, but when we can, we'll definitely we'll like I say, it might just need to be keeping your eye on our channels and our live streams and such.
Yeah, we'll have I do know that we've got a couple of machines coming down the pipe that you know, one of them could potentially be a giveaway because it's going to be kind of small. If it works.
I might give mine away to the garbage man.
We'll see. Steve said if he had a box, so he's got one, he'd let somebody come. Hey, you could do that one like you did the last one. You could have somebody come get it. Because I saw
is this like the Facebook?
They would have teamed up and come got that other one if they'd known it was coming.
Is this like the Facebook neighborhood group, Free on Curb?
Yeah. What was it, driveway pickup or whatever?
Yeah.
Curb pickup. Yeah. That's what you do. You have a yard sale, Steve, and just advertise your yard sale ahead of time.
I've threatened to do that. Is have a
laser yard sale.
Well, yeah, no, I don't know why they have to call it like a robotics. It can't really be a shop sale, but I mean, you know,
yeah,
I guess you could,
You could
educational
just
term would
post
be a
pictures
STEM
of
forum.
everything that you're going to have that day, and then like put a minimum what you'll take for it or whatever, and then just see what happens.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, everybody's excited about your 129.
Greg, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm a little nervous because I got my first job like outside of the house. I worked with my dad in the garage pretty much from the time I could walk. Whether I was carrying tools, washing parts, sweeping floors, picking up stuff, whatever. My dad was a mechanic, and when I wasn't in school, I went to the shop with Dad every morning. And so I was like 10 years old and could like redo brakes on a car, and like I would all those hard bolts that are hard to get to because you have to get over in the motor and all that. Well, at 10 years old, my hands were just the right size, apparently, that I could get to those hard to reach bolts from my dad. So I've had a job my entire existence that I can remember. So it's a little nerve wracking in a way, but I'm hoping that between the business, and I'm going to ramp the business up a little bit more as far as like some of my local stuff and everything. I'm hoping to be able to supplement the differentiation between what I make working and what I'm going to, money in the bank not working, because there's a difference, because I'm going to have to pay for insurance, which right now I pay for insurance, but the city pays for like half of my insurance. So by the time I pay my half, it's still cheaper than what it's going to be post-retirement. So I've got to, I got to work on that, and I got to make sure I keep some money coming in to help me cover that. But other than that, between this channel, the other channel that I'm gonna do more with when I have more time, I'm gonna do the outdoor stuff is gonna be done there, the around the house kind of stuff, and just the regular like just hanging out with me and Brandy type stuff. We're gonna do that over there, and then some of the community stuff with my kids. I've got a 14-year-old that's fixing to be getting ready to take her permit test, and I'll be retiring about the time that she's really needing to train up. So, there's going to be a lot of things. And to be honest, guys, for the past 25 years in law enforcement, like I said, when my oldest child was, 10, 8, 9 years old, there was many Christmases that I was laying on a sniper rifle, or I was outside somebody's house that had barricaded themselves, threatening to hurt themselves. Believe it or not, in law enforcement, Christmas is a very busy day. A lot of people get depressed, they get upset, and they do things on Christmas that used to end up making me go into work on Christmas morning. So it's going to be kind of cool this Christmas, knowing that short of some type of family emergency from my extended family, I'll be able to stay at home with my wife and kids. So those are things that a lot of people don't realize. But for 25 years, I've been subject to call every holiday that's come around: Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, birthday, anniversary, kids' birthdays. It didn't matter. I saw a thing the other day where some guy was on Facebook. I had to miss one of my kids' ball games, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, seriously? You missed a ball game and you're all upset about it? Try missing like your kid's birthday, or a major event, kid graduating or something like that, because some knucklehead wanted to be stupid. So it's gonna be different, but I am really looking forward to it. The lack of like commitment to something outside of my family, I think, is going to be the biggest plus for me, is that I can no longer will I have to have my family take a back seat when it comes to certain things, because I've done that for 25 years. So, from now on, they'll be first, which is odd for somebody doing what I've done for as long as I have. But it's like I said, it's going to take some getting used to, some adjustments, but I'm ready. I'm ready to try it. And I'm hoping that the good Lord ain't got a sense of humor and is going to make me go to work at Tractor Supply to pay for my insurance. But if he does, he does. And that's what I'll do. I'll just get free chickens that way. So, but hopefully the channel and the shop can pay for my insurance and my incidentals, and I can stay retired happily ever after.
And Chuck's asking, is it business days or calendar days? That's calendar days, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
yeah,
coming quick.
and I got about 700 hours of sick time and about 200 and something hours of vacation too. So, but I'm gonna try to save some of that and have that cashed out and put into an added retirement, like a 401k type thing, instead of getting the money, if I can help it.
Yeah.
But I may have to get me a little bit of check just to, splurge a little bit. We'll see. yeah. I go to Tractor Supply and pick up chicks all the time. But it's the chirpy kind. Get one of those shirts that says how to pick up chicks, and it's got like a picture of a hand going up under a little chick. But yeah.
Yep.
It's strange being the same age as old people.
Yeah, Brandon's gonna have to step into full-time managing for you. So,
well, she's going to continue to work for a little while. Her job, she enjoys it. She likes it. It's low stress. I won't say stress-free. It's low stress. And we don't want to shock our financial situation too much. So she's going to continue to work for a little while until I make sure I got my legs under me here, and then hopefully she can retire and we can do it together. But I've got to succeed to make sure that happens.
Yep.
We're at an hour and 37 minutes, so it's actually slowed down a little bit. Yeah, my wife asked today. We went in there today to get cat food and everything, because I got a dog that has this thing about he won't eat dog food, he eats cat food. So I had to go get some more cat food today, and they had that rooster in there. It's like as tall as I am. And Brandy's like, "Why would anybody want a rooster like that?" And I'm like, "I kind of want one of those roosters." I ain't gonna lie. Put it down there by the road. That way people can ride by and go, "Why would you want that rooster?"
Yeah, we ended up at Tractor Supply a few weeks ago, and I know the rooster they're talking about. Carly, she's always looking at weird stuff like that, and she wants a windmill. I'm like, we have hardly enough yard for a shrubbery, and you want a windmill?
Yeah. Jim says, I retired 17 years ago, miss working, even though I have many hobbies. Health issues can always surprise you, so enjoy as much as you can. We will enjoy seeing you more. And I appreciate that, Jim. Like I said, I know that firsthand, man. I've lost some guys along the way that, I was friends with or knew or associated with. And here recently, we've had several guys that like just retired. Like they were just retired, and come to find out they've got some really bad health problems that, if they'd have known about, they probably would have retired sooner. So yeah, it's life's never promised. And I feel the same way. I want to get out and enjoy it while I can, because my luck, I won't be one of those guys that gets to retire and stay retired for 30 years. So I want to enjoy as many of them as I can.
Yeah, we had someone retire from our department just over a couple years ago. And he had, he'd done the math to try to maximize everything and such. And unfortunately, it was a year and a half. Yeah, that's all his retirement was. And he, all of a sudden he had some major health issues, and a month later passed away. And so it's got some of the rest of my older staff thinking seriously about, well, maybe I don't need to max this out. Maybe a little earlier. And and that's part of, for me, if I need to max mine out, I'm looking at dang near 18 years, but I'm hoping it's a lot sooner than that. As far as maybe not retiring, but kind of like what you're looking at is whether it's this or something else, being able to step back into a little more relaxed job, and basically cover the expenses and the fun stuff, but hopefully have enough kind of in the bank to cover everything else. And because nothing's promised as far as time on this earth.
Oh yeah, like I said, and I have, like I said, guys, I have worked in law enforcement. It's not the best paying job ever. So, and at one time I was on the dive team, I was on the SWAT team, I was on the hazmat team. If there was a team, I was on it. You know what I mean? That's one reason why 2 back surgeries and a knee surgery later, I've decided to slow down. K9 dog tracking, chasing people through the woods at 3 a.m, getting called out. So it's a bit of a pace change for me, but I'm looking forward to it. I want to just be a normal person. You know what I mean? I just want to be that a guy, guy that works in the shop.
You're asking a lot. First off, normal. We know how short you are.
Well, as close to normal as I can be. Anyway.
There you go.
I mean, some of that stuff you can't do. Some of the stuff I've done and just walk away from it scot free. Right. I'm still gonna have a few of those little personality traits, but hey, I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, my mom, she's got some health issues that she's been dealing with, and me being retired will free me up to help her and do more with her and everything. So, because like we said, we don't know, you don't ever know how long things are going to last. So I think all around, I think it's what I'm supposed to do, so to speak. I don't know if it's going to be easy or not. I'm hoping for easy. That's what I'm hoping for. But you know how it is. Sometimes the things that you're supposed to do in life aren't always the easy ones. But I'm hoping this one's going to be one of those easy ones.
Yeah. Well, before it gets too buried, Robert did see your question. Just wanted to let that conversation play out. But he's asking, I'm looking for an air purifier for my Rolly new version.
New version, which
so I don't know if they're looking at the Galvomatic or the XW, but so and I was funny you mentioned that. I was just talking with Clack before the show about this. It's a question that gets asked a lot about air purifiers. Should I buy this? That's that they often offer them up from these places, and they're the desktop units. They're not that big, and right away they'll work for a bit. But what you'll find with a lot of them is the filters get plugged up, the airflow stops flowing as fast, and then the smoke starts getting backed up, and then you can wash some of the filters, but eventually they need to be replaced, and they're not exactly cheap. So a lot of those units that are in that couple $100 to $400 range, they're going to work for a bit, but you're going to either find yourself spending a lot on filters, or you're just not going to be happy with the performance. The only one that I've felt that has been good for a while, and I kind of haven't done a whole lot with this yet because I wanted to use it for a while before putting much out about it, is the X-Tool AP2. It's a bit of a different design, and the top filter element is actually a bunch of microcyclones, and so they're much like, I've got a cyclone dust collector right there, and it spins the material and drops it down, but keeps the airflow going. And so instead of hitting the filters, all that material gets collected into a tray or a basin, or like in this, a 5-gallon pail. That keeps your filters cleaner longer by taking the bulk of that heavy particulate out. And I think that is the biggest reason why this one is still performing fairly well for me a few months down the line. I've got it running inside my house in my basement, and it's not hooked up to my air extraction system out there that goes outside. And so I've been using it a lot. I mean, I cut all these with it this past weekend, and I've been using it for a few months before that. So I'm going to try to put a video together that shows a few of the different ones with the filters, even the original X-Tool one, as well as the AP2. But right now, unless you want to jump into a real high-end commercial filter unit, that's about the minimum I would recommend. And if you don't get it on sale, that thing is still $1,000. So when you're talking about air purifiers versus being able to dump outside, pretty much plan on spending some money.
Yeah. And I agree with you on everything that you said, especially like the AP2 so far is the only viable option that I've had in the shop. I've had many of those little, 16-inch by 12 by 12 boxes. I mean, I've had tons of those. And like you said, for about 20, 30 minutes or so, they work great. And then you start smelling it. There is in my opinion, there is no affordable solution other than just venting outside. And like you said, unless you're gonna spend some serious cash to get anything otherwise. So, but somebody else had something else. Oh, James, no, I'm getting out of there. I'm turning in my keys and I am heading. I'm actually going to stay part-time with them because I used to manage the network, the computer network, and I'm still administrator over a lot of our resources and stuff. So I'm going to stay part-time because they're probably going to have to call me because there's going to be like something that they don't know how to do in the computer system. So they're going to keep me on part-time for a little while just for that, so that I don't have to do it for free. Because I can't like tell them, oh no, you can't access your data. I've got to go show them how to use it and help them. So I'll stay part-time for a little while to do that.
I would hope they'd have that addressed in their succession planning as well as their continuity of operations planning.
Well, we have been trying to train people, but you obviously have not trained police on how to work computers.
Well, I mean, it's all in your documentation.
Dude, I have got Word documents in folders with step by step. It don't help.
I know. Even training college graduates that have IT degrees were a little shocked. Like, what do you mean you don't understand this?
Yeah, because I've got a folder on the server. It's called Clack's folder of stuff. And it's literally how to change this, how to sit that, how to find this, how to do that. And I've got directions in there. And I still get phone calls. Hey, how do you do this? I'm like, it's in the folder. Oh, I know, but it's hard to follow those steps. And I'm like, geez. But
yeah. Brent's asking, trying to decide X-Tool F1 or F1 Ultra.
What do you want to do with it?
I was like, no, that's not that. It depends. Yeah, no. What
you want to do with it? Are you wanting it to take to shows? Because if you are, go with the F1. Don't do the Ultra because the Ultra is not my definition of portable. It's more portable than a crane, but it's not portable, in my opinion.
It's a bit bulkier and it doesn't. It's not as rigid because it's bigger. So like the shield is more flexible, and so there's no real good way to grab it per se. You can definitely pick it up and move it around, but it's not as designed to do that. Whereas the F1 Ultra is literally, it's like grabbing a camping lantern and hiking down the trail with it.
Yeah, it's got a handle on it. You can literally like just pick it up like a gallon of milk.
So outside of that too, it really depends. I mean, the F1 is great for marking things, both, with the 10-watt blue laser, it's going to do most of your woods and your natural materials. The IR is going to be able to mark most metals and anodizations. Now, again, it's not going to be much faster than this because of its power rating. So if you're expecting to do real dark engravings or, deep engravings, it's not going to do anything for depth, and dark's going to take a little bit of time. That's where the F1 Ultra with the higher power is going to give you a little bit more. But also coupled with that, the 20-watt blue diode laser on the F1, I find what's the point? Because yes, you can cut with it, but without that air assist and the fact that it's swinging that beam outside to side, you get more angled cuts. It's one of those, yes, it can, but it's not the best tool for the job. So it really kind of comes down to what you want to do with metal. You're going to get a little faster, and you can do depth stuff with the F1 Ultra. It's just one of those things. It's a 20-watt fiber. It's going to take some time. Yeah.
I like either one of them though. I don't think either one's a bad machine. They're just like Steve said, you've got to decide what purpose you're trying to obtain this machine, because one is going to excel at something that the other one doesn't.
Yeah. Both of them should make an appearance on my channel here pretty soon too. I got some projects coming up with them. So,
well, there's my Ultra right there. My F1 is in my trailer that I take to events. That's my event machine right there. That thing turns out dog tags like literally in 20 seconds. I can engrave a dog tag or a pet tag and be done with it. Yeah, that's
what I like with this one is this handle, super portable.
I mean, it's like a gallon of milk.
Nothing's shaking loose on it. I really shouldn't shake it like that, but it's easy to move this around and take it with you.
And it feels like when you carry it around, like you said, it doesn't feel as like you could tear it up as easy. The Ultra, it kind of feels like if you're not careful, you could drop it too hard or whatever, and you could break something. So I would, definitely recommend the F1 for going to events and stuff. Let's see what we got. Dennis says, you come up with more things to make in the shop than anyone I watch on YouTube. So, well, it's probably because I'm hyperactive as all get out. But a lot of the stuff that I come up with is because people have asked me about making signs or making this or making that. So I get a lot of input from other people as far as things that I can make. So that's, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I try to keep content coming because I don't make the best videos. My videos don't get the most views. So I just try to make enough of them to try to stay in the stream a little bit, I guess you could say.
You saying you're a quantity over quality kind of guy?
Hey, I try to be quality, but I know my limits. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to hang in there, man. That's it.
Yep. Well, I mean, you also have your goal to build it up towards retirement, and I get that. I went down the path of hitting my previous business. The whole reason I got into CNC machines and lasers was my model airplane stuff, and I started doing my own stuff, selling my own kits and manufacturing things, and I was reselling things because there's accessories and such, and it just got too busy and got too crazy. And so now I take this seriously and I do it and I want to grow it, but I still keep it as secondary to my job and my family, not in that order, but those things are more important than me getting another video out. So that's just part of why sometimes, it takes me a little bit longer, because I'm not, I'm willing to let it go because I'm not necessarily building it towards retirement yet.
Oh, well, I'm in a different situation as we've discussed. Like I said, when I retire, which I have full intentions of 129 days from now, unless something really big comes up, I'm retired. So this is going to substitute, like I said, it's going to cover that gap from working income to, not working income. And so, yes, I try to make sure that I've got the channel going and I'm growing it, or at least trying to grow it, because I need to at least sustain what I've got, if not grow more, as far as being able to make money and do things. And it's fun and I enjoy it. So yeah, it's a little bit more serious for me, because if I want to retire and have money to actually do stuff with, I'm going to have to increase what I make here, whether through the business, through social media, through whatever. I'm going to have to rev up my income a little bit just to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
And to help my wife be able to retire as well, I've got to come up with a way of recouping what she makes, because she doesn't have the same type of retirement that I have. She has more of a 401k type thing. So hers is kind of like yours. You got to wait to a certain age, and then there's dynamics that go into it that it's not going to be. It's not like mine, where I get 25 years and I can go.
Sure. Well, I mean, mine's still a pension, but it just we're not in the law enforcement age. They make us work longer for it.
Yeah. So,
but if I was in state patrol here, yeah, I'd be right there with you, because they kick them out at 50 up here. So,
yeah. Greg saying, Stephen Clack, do you have a hat press? I've got the Vevor. It's pretty iffy. I got the Vevor automatic. I don't know a lot about hats and hat presses, but I did press one hat with it so far, and I want to do more, but I just hadn't got around to it. But it worked on the one that I did. So I don't know how well it worked, because it's the only one I've ever had, but it worked.
Yeah, I've got a Vevor. I've got the very basic one. As a matter of fact, when I got it, it was on Amazon, I think on sale for like $89. It's normally like 140 or something like that. But it's not automatic or anything. It does have a timer on it. And I think I have the one that only has one curved mount to it. And Yeah, it's a little bit iffy. I'm often adding maybe some foam or something underneath it, and just to make sure that it supports the hat right. So it's not a quick change thing. Every hat takes just a little bit of finagling into it, but it works. And it wasn't a huge investment for me, and I got that because I wanted to make some hats for myself, and I had a couple customers ask about it as well. So if I was doing them more consistently, I would definitely invest in a better press.
Yeah, that's the one I got. Like I said, I looked at a couple of reviews. It's not the best thing out there, but I didn't pay $900 for it either. So,
yeah. Scott, glad he got the Cubico.
Yep.
Glad you made it home.
He came to visit you too, didn't he?
Yeah. He stopped out here yesterday after a 5.5, 6 hour drive from Milwaukee over to here. But yeah. Well, so you'll have to play around with that and tell us everything that Clack got wrong about it.
No, I mean, it's like I said, just lower your expectations. I mean, it does stuff, but you're not going to be cutting stuff like really fast with it.
I would phrase it as have reasonable expectations of the machine.
Yes.
You know, because a lot of people have reasonable expectations of the machine, and they don't necessarily need to lower them.
Well,
some people have high expectations of them.
Understand that it is not made for pushing a bit really, really hard. That's just not how it's made.
No, it's a small desktop machine. I mean, really, it's meant for PCB work, things like this. You know, etching that copper off of a board. That's where that thing's going to excel. But if you want to be doing the catch-all trays like I did in my video, it's going to take some time.
You could do this. It's pretty easy.
You definitely do that. You could even do that probably with the scratch acrylic on that Cubico because it doesn't need to go deep.
Yep. Yeah, this doesn't like literally half a millimeter too deep.
Right.
On this. I even put holes in that one so you can mount it.
You spelled Ventari wrong. See, I'm going to have to put stickers on it when I get down there next.
Oh, that's a joke. My daughter can't park, so I'm going to make her a sign. She drives a little Toyota, but she takes up like 3 parking spots.
Thoughts on the Acel laser? I mean, we've only seen what everybody else has seen from it. Both that and the Galvomatic are definitely cool to be pushing the lasers in a new direction with the combination of the Galvo with the also having the standard, straight down air assisted cutting. Well, at least the Galvomatic does. We haven't seen the Acel laser cut yet, so I'd like to see how that does that. But it's looking good. But they're also a new company, and I believe the Kickstarter starts in July, goes for so many weeks, and they've already said it's going to be 6 months after that before they ship the units. So I think it's going to be a while before we see too many of them out there.
I think the Rolly will be out before that one is.
Yeah, it does. I'm pretty sure they're
unless there's a big problem. I haven't talked to Leo lately, but I would think it would be.
Yeah, James, the F1 Ultra not having that removable plate. I mean, that kind of speaks to they don't expect you to move the laser around too much. But you can get you can make adapters so that you can at least put like jigs in there if you want to use it that way. But yeah, you can't set it on something and engrave it, whereas you can with the F1. But,
yep.
But like we said, I wouldn't want to move that around to set it on something. I had to move mine I had it on the side bench, and I wanted to put it on the primary bench downstairs, and I was like, ugh, gotta get everything. It bit me. I have a little notch out of my thumb because yep.
What bit you?
I don't remember if it was like the cover or something. It kind of caught me on the tip of my finger wrong. So
all righty then. Yeah, North Alabama said I only got it because it was orange. It's not true.
I'm sure it highly influenced his purchase.
I mean, it may have pushed me over the edge.
I mean, it didn't matter what it was at CES. It could have been an ice cream cone. He's like, oh, it's orange. Got to have it. That would look good in my shop.
Hey, this thing right here is a lifesaver.
Well, yeah. Well, when you hurt your back like that, it sure would be. Yeah, Dennis, Beaver does have some really good stuff. It's kind of like Harbor Freight. You just got to be a little choosy on what's good and what's bad. But overall, if you're the kind of the occasional user, you want to like dabble in it, they're decent with most of their stuff. Some of them you got to do some tweaking to make them work right. But in general, it's a good baseline. So.
Good luck, Aldridge Custom Crafts, that I got a show tomorrow. Good luck.
Yeah, maybe Scott does need to lower his expectations.
I told you. Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna say you can't get through it, but it may take you a few years.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like Radu is saying he'll road trip with Scott next time, and yeah, maybe. So one of the things I'm looking at is there's the Minnesota Woodworking Guild puts on a woodworking expo in the fall. It's usually mid-October. They've invited me back again to do some laser demonstrations and such. I'm considering it, so that might be a meetup this fall that we could do up in this area. But otherwise, yeah, if people want to figure something out, especially during the couple of weeks that we're going to have summer and not winter up here in the northern states, let us know. We'll try to figure it out.
Y'all have a summer up there?
On occasion. Hey, I'll take it that way.
It seems like here lately all you've been having is winter.
Yeah, well, like I told Scott yesterday, it's easier to warm up than cool down for me. So,
well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. When you're like part Sasquatch.
Well, whatever it is, I do better in cooler climates than warm.
A picture. Valley Ford said, "Why was someone in law enforcement like orange so much?" I was wearing orange back when the folks in the jails wore black and white stripes. So it's not a recent thing with me. And I was going to try to find some pictures, but
so our college partners with a prison in one of the communities that we serve, and so they sometimes we end up going there, but they also have like a carpentry program where they will take on custom jobs, and we hired them years ago to install new computer lab tables for us. They built them and installed them. Apparently their uniforms for installing that were blue jeans and white t-shirts, which our dress code during the summer is a little more lax, especially if we're doing work. And so myself and some of the staff were in very similar attire that day. We made sure to have our college IDs on us. Well, we got Rich, Louisiana hobby guy, in the chat tonight. Nice to see you, Rich.
What's
Hope
up?
You're doing well, and good to see you.
I know darn well. I've got some pictures. You don't realize how many pictures you have until you go looking for one particular picture, and it's like, okay, where's it at?
Well, I've used Google Photos, and it used to be Picasa, but I have a lot of backup of my photos, and I use, especially when I was the model airplane not model airplane news, Fly RC Midwest editor. I'd go to events and I would take hundreds and thousands of photos, and they'd all get backed up there. And so I have these years where it's just hundreds of airplane photos, and people are like, do you ever spend time with your kids and take pictures of them too?
Yeah, I found what I was looking for. So let me get these where I can show you now. But yeah, it's
Is this your chainsawing days?
it's some back in the day. Yep. All right. All right, here we go.
I need to cue the Jeopardy music.
Now I just was trying to get everything ready. All right, here we go.
All right, let's see.
Entire screen, top screen, share. All right, there you go. That is circa shoot. I don't remember exactly when that was. That's a long time ago. This beast right here, I used to run. Also, you see what color it is. There I am. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm in one of the. We were in one of the ice storms or hurricanes or something. I'm guessing it's probably not a hurricane, seeing how I'm bundled up. This I can tell you exactly where that's at. That was down there near Rich, in a swamp. But yeah. So I've been wearing orange for a long time. These pictures were back in like 95, probably. Look, yeah, there it is. I didn't have any orange on, but look at that fish right there. Ah, look at those fish. Yeah.
Noodling for those?
No, I catch those on the trot line. But yeah. Yeah, that's a much thinner me. But yeah, that's what I was wearing orange way back when, guys. So it's not it's not a brand new thing by any stretch of the imagination. And also, of course, I love my Kubota tractors and lawnmowers and all that. So there's plenty of orange around here already. But yeah. Yeah, Jack said, I don't miss that at all. I worked for Ashland for 15 years. Yeah, I was there from the time I was 18 years old until I turned 25. I went into law enforcement when I was 25, therefore, and retire at 50. But so for like those years, I ran those machines, climbed, and I was a crew foreman when I left and went into law enforcement. So I spent, was it about 7 years, I think it was, doing all that. I've been all over the Southeast working storms and stuff. Fun fact.
Yeah.
I can tell you some of those when those hurricanes and stuff, like I had just went into law enforcement when Katrina hit New Orleans. I hadn't been in law enforcement but a few years. I went in law enforcement in 99. And so I was still working hurricanes, but we went with Homeland Security and the National Guard and all those folks over there for Katrina. So it was a little bit different, but that was a new twist on storm work. But it got me kind of bit. And I got hooked up with some folks that did security details and stuff during natural disasters. And so I've been to almost every hurricane since then, since Katrina. I've been to almost every hurricane since then in a security capacity with the utility companies or private sector or whatever. During Hurricane Sandy, I went up to New York City and worked up there. It's been cool. This twitch in my eyelid, I don't know what is going on. I don't know if I've had a burst of vein or something or what, but this has been for 2 days, but this eyelid will not quit wiggling. No. No, that wasn't the case.
Apparently, Rich says they catch them on they just upgrade their bait.
Yeah, you seriously go brim fishing. That's what you do. You go down there and you set the trot line out, and you take some crickets and you catch brim. The little sunfish, brim, whatever you want to call them. And then you take those guys and you hook them on a trot line, and then you let that sit while you go up to the dam and fish in the swift water. And then before you go home, you come back and run the trot line, and you get those big cats, those big blues like that.
I don't think that's quite legal up here to. So there was a time back when a kid, I forget, there was on a lake up in northern Minnesota. Just we stopped somewhere for on a trip, and I was fishing with my friend just off the shore, and I was like a small perch or a bluegill, and all of a sudden a northern just takes a swipe at it as I'm pulling the fish out of the water, and I was super tempted to cast that little perch back in and try to catch the.
It's legal here as long as you don't cut them. And there's some species you're not supposed to use, but you don't cut them. But I've fished with like frying pan size brim before and caught catfish on them. So you catch a lot of snapping turtles when you fish in a trot line too, if you're not careful though.
Yes, right.
Now you can't do the catching those big cats like that. I was going out in the trot line in the boat. Now my boat that I had when those pictures was taken, it was sketchy. Oh, it was sketchy. You would hit waves and the bottom of the boat. You can see the bottom of the boat do this.
Mm.
My wife hated it. She hated it.
Yeah. Well, we are a little over time, so if people have any real questions, hit us up because neither of us have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
we can hang out for a bit.
I get to sleep late in the morning.
I was actually trying to find an early photo to share, so someone's got to fill it with something because I'm still scrolling.
An early photo? What you trying to find? An early photo of you?
Well, it's
all
not
you gotta do is go watch your first YouTube video. You're like you were 12.
Okay, well, it's a little after that, but it's an early laser picture.
Because I don't even think you had facial hair in one of those videos that you put on YouTube.
Well, I didn't have a full beard. I have not been clean. I am under a threat of bodily harm by my wife if I shave too much of my beard off.
All right. So Mark's asking any recommendations on ER20 collets. I need to get a few more for the 150 ATC arrives. I don't have a ER20. ER11's all I got.
Yeah, I'm not.
Y'all guys with those big spindles, y'all's big boy spindles, get to use those ER20s. But I wouldn't know what to tell you. I ordered my collets. I've used some Amazon ones, and I've also ordered some from Carbide. So I've got a box of them now, though. Because occasionally I blow them out with the air hose, but if they ever start looking like dingy or whatever, I've got a little thing over there that I'll put some LA Simply Awesome in there and drop them off in it and let them soak while I'm out here in the shop working. And then I'll just rub them down real good, hit them with an air hose again, put them back over there. Yeah, 3 rusty nails. Yeah, jug fishing is pretty fun. I haven't done that in a long time, but yeah, last time I did it, we had just started using the pool noodles, and we would also take a lot of those little glow sticks. You could take those glow sticks and like attach to them to where they would glow in the dark, and we go down there at night and throw them out. That's fun. But you got to be careful down there these days because folks will run you over at night down there. Yeah, that's right. Baby Sasquatches don't have hair. Whew. Yeah, I thought about going and taking my boat with me tomorrow because my mom lives on the lake. And so I thought about taking the boat with me. And the more I think about it, it's like it's going to be busy down there. So I think I'm just going to stay my butt on the bank because the last thing I need is to get run over by somebody in a boat. So I'm probably not going to take my boat. I may do some fishing because they do have a nice dock or pier or whatever you want to call it with a roof.
That's not what I wanted.
So what else we got going on? What you got coming this? I don't know if we can talk about that machine yet. But I know we've got a machine coming that's supposed to be here in the next few days that is going to be possibly going to be cool. It could be a train wreck, but we'll see. And I've got one that's supposed to be here next month that I think is going to be really awesome. So we'll see how that goes. But what do y'all got? Any questions, comments, concerns while Steve looks for this picture of a small Sasquatch?
It's not okay. Whatever.
Says his local garden center have this product called Grow a Sasquatch. Yeah, that's a good point. Aaron's saying that you might want to check with IDC. They sell collets too. So yeah, he may have what you need over there. I didn't think about them. Steve, are you able to reorder ink for the Eufy yet?
Not yet.
Apparently not.
I am anxiously waiting for that.
So yeah.
All right. Let me see if that worked.
I need a theme song from Jeopardy.
Hey, that was my line. Get your own.
Oh, did you say that? Oh. Any more Eufy Make projects? I seen you showing off your coasters earlier.
I have, yeah. So part of it is because it has that maintenance cycle. You don't want to be like printing one thing one day and then waiting 3 days and printing something another. You kind of want to bundle them up together, because when it goes through the cleaning cycle, it uses a bit of the cleaning solution and you waste some of the ink. So I'm trying to bank up a few things that I want to run, and then I'll do a few days of working with that to get that out there. One of them actually is possibly going to be mixing my hobbies of model airplanes with the UV printer as well. So just trying to get all that stuff in order along with my time. I'm trying to get caught up on some of these other projects and such. But yeah, more to come on that. I also had to order. It's part of it too is some of the blanks that they provided us are nice. They've got these little ceramic magnets and coasters and such, but I can't reorder those either. And I actually have customers who have asked me like, "Hey, can you make me a set of color coasters with my logo on it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, once I find the right coasters, because I can't reorder these right now." So it's one of the downfalls of getting it early is, yeah, you get to play with it, but then all of a sudden you run out of stuff and it's like you've been given the taste of something, and now they say, okay, now wait 3 months.
Radu's asking, do either you know someone that could make adapters? I haven't tried to connect yet. Actually still in the box, and they need one from a longer rotary to use in OMTEC 60-watt CO2. Yeah, you're probably going to have what's the aircraft connector? It's 4 pins on the
Yeah, those usually have those aviation plugs on there.
It's a 4 pin on the galvos typically. I'm not saying all of them are. Now my OMTEC 60 watt galvo over there has that 4 pin aviation connector. So I don't know of anybody, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that can do it for you.
I mean, anyone with some electronics soldering experience should be able to make one for you. They just gotta look at the pin out and make sure they get those lined up. So
yeah, I don't have a longer rotary, so but yeah.
All right, let me see if this will work.
Oh, he said a 60-watt floor unit. I don't know which one that one uses. I think my OMTEC Polar uses a aviation plug too.
Yeah, most of the cabinet ones like that, and I'm pretty sure my Maker 25, which is a 50-watt, also has the same. That's how my old, this, which is in the box, this is almost 10 years ago. About the time that Clack retires, it'll be 10 years since I took delivery of this. So in that was this laser. This was the first thing when people asked what I got into the hobby with and such, and I purchased this to expand my some of my model airplane design stuff, which then I made a lot of kits off of that, engraved a lot of kits as well and things. So that laser, it was at the time I think I spent about $2,500 on it, and then still had to buy the chiller and other things. And so it was a bit of an investment at the time, because like I said, that was 10 years ago, and luckily it did pan out, and was able to build some things off of it. But that was the obligatory younger Steve photo. These are the tubes that came with it for the air exhaust. So
mercy.
There's younger Steve.
Mercy. Hey, where's that box trailer at? I haven't seen that lately. You still got that?
Yeah. That's on the side of the garage.
Oh,
It hasn't moved in a while because I haven't. I used to haul my airplanes around in that and such, and I'd go to shows and I'd load that up with all my product and other things. So it's a 5x8 enclosed.
3 Rusty Nails said he just heard from Sane Smart. They said the bed extender will fit the 3020 Pro Ultra. So yeah, I figured it would. It looks like it's the same machine. You typically, like, they just probably called it the Ultra because they changed the little DC spindle and added the router. Typically their machines, the parts are borrowed from the previous generation of machines or whatever.
So yeah, Mark, that laser started out for me researching lasers and thinking that I was going to get one of the little K40 units to learn. But as I was researching them, I found out how much I would have to do to upgrade it. And so then I figured, well, if I'm already spending $1,200 to $1,500 to get the laser I want and only have a small cutting area, I'd go with a larger cabinet size. Well, once I had committed to that, then I realized, well, if I save up a little more, I could get the one that had that larger bed size. So that one had about I think it was a 500 by 700. So roughly 27 inches by 17, 18, I think, was the cutting area on that one. And yeah, it was a little bit to jump into, but I did a lot of reading online. Back then it was more like, your forums and such instead of Facebook groups, and there were some YouTube videos out on things like that, but they weren't as prevalent as they were today. So, but yeah, it was a bit, considering I was originally looking at like a $400 K40.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have been happy with that.
No, that was a smart move.
Well, I guess that's about it, guys. We're almost 30 minutes over, and it's, even though I don't got to work. Oh, look, Tiger. That's Tiger. Y'all never get to see Tiger. That is Tiger. She looks a lot like Fluffy, except she's not Fluffy. So, but Tiger spottings are rare around here because she comes in, goes to sleep, comes out, and leaves. That's it. She's not very social. She will let me pet her, but just briefly. So y'all have been blessed. Y'all got to see Tiger.
All right. Well, yeah. Stay tuned to the channels. Like I say, I dropped a video today on, it was a quick one on the Sculpt Fun. What do they call it? I think they call it an exhaust platform or something like that. It's basically a downdraft table with a honeycomb built into it, which is, we've talked about before. That's the direction you want the airflow to go. If you've got the space. Yeah. And so check that out. It worked okay. I won't say it's perfect. If you're doing cutting, it works really well, but engraving, there's a chance for it not to capture all of it, but it is a lot better than having nothing. But I'd appreciate it if you get a chance, go watch it, or, turn it on and go get some coffee or whatever. Just give the video some views and send it some love.
You should just run the clock out. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. And drop a comment on any of the videos too. That helps everything, helps get our videos in front of more people and such. But I'll have more. I've got the I showed earlier, the coaster caddies. I'm gonna try to get these out tomorrow, to the video and such. So check that out as well. And then more to come on some of these small portable machines. So if you guys are looking at those, we'll try to give you a little more insight onto those. But hopefully a busy, uneventful couple days for me here in the shop before I jump back to work, and then we'll see what the rest of the week brings.
Yeah. And while you're watching Steve's video, don't worry and fret if you run out of videos to watch. I also put one out a little while ago. You can go check that out about this two-sided plastic or two-color plastic that I did over here. So, but until next week, guys, y'all be safe. Have a good day. And tomorrow, everybody enjoy the holiday. But like Steve said earlier, don't forget why it's a holiday and the whole purpose of the thing. So until next time, see ya.
See you, everyone.